Howdy, folks. Welcome back to NiteBites, our inaugural edition. I'm your host, Clark Guerin.
And I'm your co-host, Denise Oliver.
And as I say, we were talking about when we left, I really saw something special in this guy.
Right.
And his story.
Right.
And I think that everybody talked during the campaign about him not having experience. That's why you went for Hurricane Hillary.
Yeah.
Because she had experience.
Yeah.
She had the experience of being a corrupt politician. He didn't have that experience. He just had the experience like the president he so much identifies with, President Lincoln, somebody who just had a vision to have his life make a difference.
Right.
A real difference.
Right.
And I can't figure out why in the world he wanted this job.
No, especially when he could have been doing anything. But you know what? I want to go back and make this point again, that because you ask a question, why is it so important, or why do people say about the first black president? Mm-hmm. And it's not so much that it's important in and of itself, it's the meaning or the symbolism. For example, right now, if you ask, well, let's go back. 2 years ago, you asked a little black kid on the street, what do you want to be when you grow up? I want to be a rapper, I want to be a basketball player, I want to be whatever. Nobody ever said they wanted to be president of the United States. Now all of a sudden people have something to shoot for. We have automatically broadened the horizon of millions of young kids, and not just black kids, Hispanic kids, Asian kids, everyone who's not white, who saw the other 43 guys who held this office as being white and as it being a white man only position. Now all of a sudden they have something to shoot for. It's opened their eyes. When people have hope that makes them work harder, if you know that you can possibly get to something, of course you're going to work for it. If you know that it's impossible, how many people are going to shoot for the impossible? Very few.
Barack
Very
did.
few.
Barack Obama
Very
did.
few. Exactly. He's a 1 in a billion man. Okay?
Boy, he's gone up there as we've gone this show.
No, I said 1 in a million.
You guys always got problems with numbers, huh?
Check earlier. I said billion. So he is definitely an exceptional man. But not everybody is exceptional like him. And so for the people, for the kids that are average, above average, exceptional. These people have something to shoot for. And it's not that they have to be president, but you got to aim high. Mm-hmm. If you aim high, you may not be president of the United States, but you can be president of the company that you work for. You can be a team leader of the school that you attend. There are so many things that you have the ability to do as long as you exert yourself and reach out and strive and stretch your hands out for something. Whereas when you don't see anyone that looks like you doing that, you think, oh man, why should I try something like that? That's lame. I don't want to do that. I'm not going to put myself out there.
You know, as I have listened over this since the election day to people in the black community talking, that is one of the themes that I have heard over and over that I never really understood the importance of. I mean, most of our viewers know I'm Jewish, and there's a certain amount of prejudice against people for being Jewish. I have a gay name, Guerin, that isn't, like Steinberg or something where it's Jewish, but I always thought, well, being black, being Jewish, I mean, we're discriminated against to a certain thing. There's a certain prejudice. But what I've begun to see is my Jewishness. I had the option that my Jewishness is not as prominent as your blackness.
No.
Even if my name were Steinberg, I could change it to Smith, and I wouldn't necessarily appear Jewish. Even with a schnozola I got, I wouldn't appear Jewish.
Right.
But when you go apply, they're always going to know right away that you're black.
Right.
And I hadn't realized what a barrier that was in the mind of people who were black until all this emotion started coming out.
Right. And that's the whole thing. It's a psychological handicap. Because if you think that you can't, or you think that other people think that you can't, there's that barrier that's going to make you not even try. Eventually, you're going to stop trying. And you see that in the faces of so many young black men especially. They're like, I can't get a job. Why should I even try? I go down, I apply everywhere. They're not hiring. It doesn't matter.
And, you know, and see, this is why I have such a problem with affirmative action. Because one of the philosophies, good, bad, or different, that a lot of white people have, is that black people as employees don't do as good a job as white people do. That is a stereotype that is out there. And it's a stereotype that's out there because in some situations that happens to be true. And just like, and I don't know why it gets going so much for black people as opposed to white people, because a lot of white people end up being lousy employees too, and I've had my share of those. But it is a stereotype that is out there, and I can see that it's just very difficult to deal with. How do you break out of that?
How do you break out of that? How do you break out of an expectation that you're not as good as someone else? How do you get yourself going every day to the point of when you go to work, you know that, or even when you're out and applying for a job, you know that the person doesn't really want to hire you. So how do you motivate yourself every day to keep going, to keep looking, to keep trying? It becomes hard. And, you know, being a Jewish person, you still had a strong community where there are a lot of Jewish leaders that you could look up to, you can go and talk to, and you could see them progressing and being successful. That wasn't happening in the black community. It's not happening. It stopped happening like in the 60s and 70s. There was a vacuum. And unfortunately, it hurt a lot of young black men. But I'm hoping that with looking at the head of the entire free world being black, that's going to give a lot of young black men some hope.
Well, I hope so. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back. Please stay with us.